Hello everyone. Now let us start your chapter number 9, Force and Laws of Motion. Another chapter of physics. You have learned about motion, which was very important and typical. It is a humble request and advice that before starting this, you have to repeat the motion chapter. Because if you forget it, then you can't understand this chapter. This chapter is very easy and very well known chapter about Newton's laws of motion, and it will ask not only in 9th standard but in 10th, 11th, 12th or whatever you have done in your future. Okay? So first we start with force. You have learned, I think so, in 7th standard that what is about force. I think that the simple definition of force is what push and pull of any object, and because of this push and pull, if object change its position, we said it is force. This is only the conceptual definition. This is not the scientific definition, so wipe out from your brain. Now, before explaining what is force, let us start with some little examples of force. First and very simple question, what are the effects of force? Effect of force. When force is applied to the object, what happened to this object? You know that suppose an object is at steady state. If you apply force, then it comes to in motion. This is the first effect. Steady object comes to motion. First, steady object comes to motion. Second, the vice versa of that, suppose an object is in motion. If object is moving and if you apply force on it, then maybe it will stop. Means moving object can stop. Can stop. Another chance of moving object is what? Suppose an object is in motion and if you apply force, then maybe its velocity changes. Maybe increases, maybe decreases. As for example, when bowler balls towards the batsman, and with the help of bat, batsman try to hit this ball. At that time, by applying force, velocity of the ball maybe decreases or increases. So you can say moving object can stop also, and velocity or speed of the object, of the moving object, can be changed. It can be changed. Okay, maybe increases, maybe decreases. You can also say that there is a change in velocity in moving object. Direction of motion can be changed. Direction of motion can be changed. Means a ball moves in this direction, with the help of bat, batsman can change the direction of motion. Okay? With the help of force, what happens? With the help of force, we can change the shape of the object. Shape of the object can be changed. Okay, so these are the effect of forces. When force is applied to the object, what happens? Suppose I apply the force on this pen, maybe pen breaks. That means the shape changes. If you apply the force of the balloon, then shape also changes. Okay, if you apply the force on moving object can stop. It can be stopped. Okay. Maybe velocity of the moving object can be changed. Maybe increases, maybe decreases. Direction of the motion can be changed. So these are the effect of force. When force is applied to the object, what happens? These are the chances. Now, when force is applied to the object, main procedure is what? See, we take an example. See here, what happened? Suppose there is an object A, a marble or a ball or any other object, name it A. Now we apply force on it. Suppose we apply force in this direction. Force we stand F. Okay? So when force is applied to the object, what happened with this object? Very simple answer. That object moves in this direction. In this means which? In physics terminology, we say that when force is applied to the object, then object displays towards the direction of force. So this object moves in this direction. In this means direction of force. Now suppose another example, an object again A. Now force is applied on it, like on this direction, F1 force, first force. At the same time, second force is also applied, F2. Because of this length of the arrow, you can say that F1 force is more, whereas F2 force is less. In short, two different forces applied on the object at the same time. Object roll down because it is a ball or a marble. Object roll down or object displaces towards the direction of forces, but the displacement is more than that of the first case. In the first case, only one force is applied. And so because of this force, it displaces and covers certain distance. Now here two different forces are applied. Magnitudes are different. Remember and recall that magnitude means measurement or value. So value of two different forces are there, and because of these two different forces, this object moves in this direction little bit more than that of the first. So here the resultant force is what? Resultant, that is called final force. Final force is what? Final force equals to what? Sum of the first and second forces. Suppose first force is 2 unit and second force is 1 unit, then the final resultant force is 1 plus 2, 3 unit. Okay? So in this way we can say that if one force is applied, it displaces according to the applied force. If two different forces are applied, then also it displaces it, but according to sum of the forces applied on it. Now once again take a third example. Suppose an object remains same, object A. Here force applied in this direction, suppose F1 force, and at the same time another force applied in this direction, F2 force. See, just like a tug of war, in opposite direction we try to pull the opponent's team towards us. Tug of war, Dora catch. So three chances are there in this game, tug of war game. The first chance is what? If F1 force is more than that of the F2 force. Suppose this F1 force is 5 unit and F2 force is 3 unit. Then this ball or an object moves towards the F1 up to 2 unit only, because 5, 3 will be balanced. The remaining 2 unit it moves in this F1 direction. So if F1 is greater than F2, then final or resultant force equals to what? F1 minus F2. Second chance, if F1 is less than F2. Now suppose F2 is more than that of the F1. Suppose F2 is 5 unit and F1 is 3 unit. Then this object moves towards the F2 up to 2 units. So once again you can write then final or resultant force equals to F2 minus F1. Here it is. And the last and third chance is what? if F1 and F2 are same, if both the forces applied from both the teams are equal, then final or resultant force equals to what? 0. It means what? In a game of tug of war, 3 chances are there. There may be F1 team means team A wins, maybe opponent team F2 force like team B wins, or the match will be draw because both forces are same, means F equals to a resultant force equals to 0. Is it clear? Very simple. Now, from this explanation, we derive 2 different definitions. The first definition is about balance force, balance forces, and the second is unbalanced forces. See, here in this tug of war game, 3 chances are there. In these 3 chances, see the last chance, when 2 forces are applied equal, if their measurements or magnitudes are same, if their values are same, then final or resultant force is 0. That means the force applied on this object simultaneously, these forces are equal forces. So it is called balance forces. In case number 1 and case number 2, forces are different. In case number 1, F1 force is more, whereas in case number 2, F2 force is more. So different forces are there, and because of the different forces, this object moves towards the force where there is a higher application. Means high force is applied. The object moves towards this direction. That is called unbalanced forces. Means forces are not balanced. It means what? What do you mean by balanced forces? If forces are applied to an object, right? If not one force, more than one force, that means if forces are applied to an object and if object does not change its position, position remains as it is, there is no change, then we said the applied forces are balanced forces. Is it okay? What do you mean by balanced forces? If forces are applied to an object and object does not change its position, if forces are applied to an object and object does not change its position, then forces are called balance forces. Okay, you have to write it because in your textbook the language is different than this language, and this is the easy going, you can easily grab it, you can easily digest this language. Okay, so write down all this board work. This is beneficial during your exam. Unbalanced forces, here unbalanced, in first number case and second number case the forces are not same or not equal, one is greater than other, and that's why it is called unbalanced forces. So what is the change in the definition of unbalanced forces? Say if forces are applied to an object and object changes its position. If forces are applied to an object and object changes its position, then forces are called unbalanced forces. Is it okay? First, effect of force, very simple, small examples, and on the basis of these examples we derive 2 definitions about balanced forces and unbalanced forces. As for example, suppose you use your bicycle, then in the wheel, spokes are there. Think that each spoke is one force. Okay? So one force applied in this direction, at the same time another spoke is there in opposite direction. Both the forces are equal. If both forces are equal, then the ring or center of the wheel remains at its original position. It does not change its position. Suppose one force means one spoke is removed by anyhow, or two or more than two spokes are removed. Okay? Then the balancing of the wheel balancing may be changed, and your bicycle moves here and there, means the wheel moves here and there. So you have to go through this spoke. Okay, so these are the best example of balanced forces and unbalanced forces. Is it okay? Write down this. After that we will start new thing.